Okay, YouTube again. Why not? So I talked last time when I fixed the silver GameCube that I got sight unseen from an eBay auction that I might take a whack at this one, which was also from the same seller. The only thing that's changed between then and now is about a week, and I went ahead and bought some replacement badges for the top, the little labels. If you watch the first video, both of these GameCubes had no, this had been removed, and that's fairly easy to do on DOL 001 models. The 101 models, like this one here that I have for reference, there is no, you can see underneath, it's just smooth plastic. There's no place to take this out. In fact, I think it's probably a sticker or something. This is like a hard plastic thing. I think it was meant to be swapped out. I've seen a bunch of different iterations where different GameCubes for like promotional ones or personalized ones, you know. But that's the only thing that's changed. I have not taken a look at this at all. Similarly to the other one that I bought, it's got, hear that? It's got some stuff rattling around in it. And the only thing I can see visually that's wrong with it right now is the fact that the lid doesn't open because, or rather it opens, but not automatically, because it's missing some sort of, it's broken somehow. The other one, if you remember, was likely dropped and things were dislodged inside. I'm guessing that's a similar problem with this one. The only real major visual damage I can see on this GameCube, besides a bunch of just kind of normal scuffing and scratching, is this area here, which is actually not super atypical for GameCubes. You'll see, there you go, see it right above this little ATI graphics badge. For some reason, I see a lot of cubes that are damaged there. And maybe it's just common for them to be dropped or something, but I'm going to take a look inside. I have this case top, because I know that I'm at least going to need to fix this hinge before I do anything else, but I've got this other case as reference, so I can see the guts and see what I'm up against, and see if there's a way I can fix it. Maybe I'll harvest some parts from this. This is a scrap from another kind of hopeless cube. So let's just get into it. Like I said, it powered on just fine. I haven't tested it with a disc, but I know that I at least need to fix this. Okay, so before I start this video, which is kind of a mess, I just wanted to say that I have indeed figured out how to do this. I learned kind of in real time how to fix what was wrong with the original lid. I did it in real time, and it was really painful, and it was just, I mean, I'm gonna show it to you in kind of an edited down format just for laughs, really, but here's the kind of guts of it. There were two things wrong with the lid, and now this is a different lid. This is my test lid. I already fixed the other one. I'm not gonna fool with it anymore, but this is the test lid here. And I just wanted to show you kind of how I mitigated both problems. So one issue was that on this side where the gears are, you can see the spring, which is here, had come loose. And so the lid, while it would open, it wouldn't open automatically. You wouldn't be able to, you know, hit the button and have it lift up. The other thing was this hinge over here. See, I've removed both of these parts, by the way, already, just because we're going to put them back again. This piece here fits like this, and the spring goes inside of it over there, kind of like that. And then this piece here fits this piece here. So trying to make sure you can see it, fits here. Now, one of the issues with this piece was that it was not, I'm going to pull the camera up just a little bit so you can see. One of the issues with this piece was that it was flat. And so what I've done is, I'm going to put the spotlight on this too so you can see what I'm seeing. One of the things I did was, and I thought it was very clever, was I went ahead and I took my soldering iron and I jammed the soldering iron into the hole where the post used to be. And I have my soldering iron tip, this one here, the pointy tip, And so I just pushed it down into the plastic, and then I took the smallest screw that I could find, and I just screwed it in a little bit. And now that is rock solid. This little post isn't going anywhere. Any jiggling you're seeing is my chubby fingers. It's not going anywhere. And that works perfectly as a little post to hook into the lid over here. So I'm going to show you how that goes in. So this is just a kind of a bespoke fix. You know, obviously I had another piece to swap out for this from this case to the case that's actually fixed. But this is just kind of a fun thing that I figured you could do if you had the materials. And you could even get like I don't know, like a screwdriver with a very fine tipped Phillips head. I've got some that are really, really fine in my little set, or like a little star bit or something like that. That you could heat up with a lighter and jam in there, any kind of metal implement that you wanted to, and a knife, a tweezer, and then you could screw this little screw in, and it could really solve your problem. This is kind of a brainstorm I had after kind of just beating my head against the wall trying to fix the hinge, trying to fix the screw part of the hinge. So as you can see, that goes. Oh, I'm gonna get the lighting right. As you can see, that goes right in there. See where the screw is right there, and it interfaces. Yeah, there you go. It's right there, and it goes into the hinge there. And as long as the hinge is properly seated, it will work just fine. So that was kind of a fun thing I thought I'd share. First off, so I'm gonna go ahead and install this. Always, always, always reverse your screws before you screw down, especially when you're working with plastic. Okay, here's the big one. This is the one that took me literally 45 minutes. I just did not know how to do this, and I felt so stupid afterwards. And I generally, or rather, I understood the concept. I just didn't have the technique down. And so if you're ever in this position where you need to replace the screw here, this is how I think it makes the most sense to do it. And I've had success with it. And I'm going to try it again live with you. So the screw, or sorry, the spring, this part of the spring right here, this little guy here, you want to aim for the gap right there. See where you can see next to this piece, in between this piece and the case plastic, which is a little darker, there's a little slot right there. The tricky part is you have to, I'm going to pull this up again so you can kind of better see what's going on. So the tricky part here is that you have to kind of load the spring a little bit. And when I say load the spring, I'm not sure if I'm using correct kind of engineering terms here or not, but there's also a dumpster being replaced next door, so it's probably gonna be super loud. Hopefully it doesn't pick up too much of that. I think when you say load the spring, it means to put it under tension, right? And so you kind of have to put it under tension and then slide it in like this. It's really hard to do because there's not a whole lot of space and my hands are really big, but what I have had success doing is just like the piece itself goes straight down like this. And so the spring naturally wants to be kind of straight down. All you have to do is get it just enough to where when you push down on it, it'll continue to slide forward like that. You see what I'm saying? So if you just kind of angle it just enough, you can get it to fit down to that slot. And sometimes I'll stick it straight down and then kind of come over the top of it in order to create that tension. And this will take hopefully way less time. I'm trying to use my tweezers to, yeah, there we go. There we go. So I've managed to angle it down in, and then you can see it just kind of pushes itself into place, and then you just put the piece down. It takes no time at all. And I have absolutely no problem admitting that I was doing it the exact wrong way. I was absolutely wasting my time. It was just a disaster that first time around, which you are going to see shortly. So I've got it more or less in place. I didn't push it all the way down, but there's your lid. So and you can see the, oh, I guess the screw isn't all the way down. The spring isn't all the way in. I managed to put it in halfway. That's no good. Let me just fix that right quick. There we go. Or rather, I think it was just that the piece wasn't all the way down. Always reverse your screws before you go in. There we go. And so did you hear that little pop? This is obviously not the best policy. You shouldn't just like screw stuff down till it works. But to a degree, that helps because that tension pushing down on this piece helps the screw kind of shove itself into, or the spring. So what you just heard was the little piece of the spring pushing itself forward under the pressure of the screw being pushed down. So that is a kind of a DIY fix on this, where I put the screw into the case plastic, or rather the piece there to create a post for this to articulate on, and that's the correct way to push that spring in. So what you're going to see next is me. I'm going to heavily cut my little intro, just saying what I was up against, kind of where the cube came from. I'm going to show off kind of what's wrong with the case. Again, it's all it is just these two pieces basically need attention. And then I'm going to do a kind of a fun supercut of me just starting to lose my mind with trying to put this screw in, or the spring in. And then stay tuned till the end, because legitimately I keep on finding surprises in these mystery Gamecubes. I found some really wild, gross stuff in the bottom of the one that I fixed, and here it is just for reference. I've cleaned it up quite a bit since the episode. I took a polisher to it, and I got most of the surface scratches and stuff off of it. But this in the bottom of it, down in the kind of recesses where the cutouts are for all of this, was just some wild, gross stuff. And so stay tuned for that, because it's always fun to see what you're going to find in a mystery GameCube off eBay. So thanks for watching. Stick with it, and hopefully like it.
Now back to our program.
This is interesting, actually. This is a bit of an interesting note. So remember that there are 3 revisions that I'm aware of the GameCube. Of course, you have your DOL 001, and then you have your 101. But there's a difference. The original DOL 001s were built in Japan. And then I guess eventually they moved production to China. So a lot of the ones you see are made in China. This one is one that's made in Japan, which is kind of neat. You don't see that as often. Okay. This one's also pretty clean. You know, I mentioned that this seller might have just be... Oh, okay, well, there's a little bit of damage. Oh, well, here's something that's interesting. I'm not sure if you can see that right off the side. Here's the spring that is for to lift the lid. That's an issue. I'm going to put that just here inside the lid here. Maybe if all the pieces are here, then maybe this will be a quick fix, guys. I'm just taking a look inside to see if there's any other sort of any other pieces that I should be aware of. I don't see any more pieces floating around. You know, I think, and if you watch the last one, I talked about kind of an acceptable level of rust. You can expect to see, you know, something like this in a GameCube, especially this is one of the older ones, just a little bit, because this is always gonna rust a little bit, especially if, you know, say you live in Florida or something and the air is just wet all the time. I live in the Southeast, and it's really difficult to get away from that. So, you know, but this is still in fantastic shape. I wouldn't consider this, you know, too rusty or too dirty by any stretch. It's got a screw on it, which means it probably breaks fairly often, and they want you to be able to replace it. So I'm going to remove this and just see what it looks like. This is fascinating. I'm really excited to be playing around with this, because I have no idea what any of this is. So let's see if I can fish this out. Okay. All right. So, yep. Okay. It's broken. So can you see Can you see this piece of plastic? It's hard to, in the right light. There. See that? Where it looks like a little hole? Well, it's been sheared off. This hooks around here, and then it catches underneath like that. And then there you go. That the light is just hard to catch. Okay, so it's like this, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so like I said in the beginning of the video, and then I showed you, those two pieces were relatively easy to fix. I just swapped over a part from the spare lid onto the cube I was fixing for the hinge, and then I showed you the right way to put the spring in. But enjoy the following supercut of me losing my mind trying to do it for the first time, and then stick around for me trying to figure out what the hell that gross stuff was at the bottom of the Gamecube. Enjoy, and thanks for watching. Well, that's no good. I just moved a little gear and I have no idea how to put it back together again. That was dumb. So awkward. This is all so awkward to do. It just doesn't want to cooperate. It doesn't want to cooperate. And stick it. It's easier said than done. I just managed to screw it up somehow. Oh man, this is really a pain in the ass, y'all. This is a real big pain in the ass. Oh, you're kidding me. Okay, well, that was stupid. How the hell is this supposed to work? I don't even know how this is supposed to work. This is so wild. Oh, hold on. Oh, y'all. I may have just done it. And this is, I mean, you know, good luck following any directions I gave you. Hopefully I can give a post-mortem of what the hell just happened, if this actually is working. But I managed to line the holes up and I'm just going for it. And it doesn't feel like I'm forcing anything. I mean, it ain't pretty. Okay, so here's actually, you can kind of see what the problem is. So this I'm trying to see if I can see that little loop. That's the end of the spring. It actually should go right in. I'm gonna get this really, really close so you can see. It should go right in. Oh damn, that's not helpful. Okay, right there. So it's here. It needs to be here. So I'm gonna try to take it with these tweezers and just kind of. I think it just kind of fell right into place. See, now it's not on the side anymore. It's kind of up in there. I mean, y'all. Okay, all right, and now it works. So that's the win. I fixed it. I feel very proud of myself. It took a lot of doing, and it was not easy. So, does the Gamecube work? Well, let's see. I always give the disclaimer, don't ever operate a machine that takes power from your wall without all the protective coating, plastic coating on it. And I mean that. You should not do that. I'm being extremely careful. I'm only going to touch two things: the catch here that allows the Gamecube to know if it's closed or open, and the power switch, both of which are plastic. So don't sue me. This is not the safest thing to do, but I've got my test bench here. And let's just see if, there's a chance that there was nothing wrong with this in the first place besides the case, which is unfortunate because anybody could have swapped this case out, but let's just see. So catch and power. It spins and it reads. That high-pitched noise to me means it's going to read. Unreal. That's NBA Live. Okay, well, I mean, it's not uncommon to get 4 parts or untested GameCubes from dealers who do lots of business, because it's not really worth their time to test it, and especially if it's as broken as this looked. I'm always gonna hit the power button a bunch of times to discharge those capacitors, just because maybe it's an urban legend, but who knows. Maybe they just saw that it was so broken and figured, I'm not going to fool with it. It's probably not worth their time, and only people like me enjoy this enough to take a whack at it. So yeah, let's just take a look at the bottom. I was going to look for that little peg, and then I noticed just something weird down there, and I swear this is not clickbait or anything. Obviously you already clicked on it, so but man, there is something down there and it is weird looking, and I pulled it halfway out and I do not know what it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this apart. Now, one thing that I'm noticing is that these screws are pretty tight, which means that that corrosion that you worry about is more than likely present somewhere. These screws seize up if there's any sort of corrosion on the system. But I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward while I take all these screws out, and then when I get to the bottom, I'll speed up, or rather, I'll slow down. Okay, just going to stop for a second and say this is pretty clean. This is more typical of what you'd expect. These 2 little lines here, that's just dust accumulated on there from use. This has probably got a lot more miles on it, as it were, but still, pretty clean. So I'm gonna keep going down to the bottom, and I'm telling you, I thought I saw something really gross down there. So stay tuned for just 2 more seconds while I get this taken off. All right, so here this one comes. Okay, all right, that's what I saw. First of all, pretty clean throughout, but what the hell is this? It is, I don't even know how do I get this to focus? It looks like a mushroom. Can you see that? Yeah. What the hell is that? Ew, and there's more of it too. I don't even know what this is. Is this like a worm? Yeah, there's another one. What are you? I don't know. Is this food? Whoops. Is that what you are? Are you food? I mean, look at this. It's so weird. I'm gonna try and get a spotlight on this. It's really rare to get, look at this. Ew, there we go. There's the money shot. What is this? I mean, these look like old dried up mushrooms, maybe? It's so rare to find a GameCube that is otherwise so clean. I mean, there's not a ton of corrosion or other dirt. I mean, I've literally had ones that I've gotten that are full of dead cockroaches and other things, but I cannot explain to you what the hell that is. How did it get in there? I'm going to pull up the power supply just to see what is there any more under there? How did it get in there? I mean, like I said, there's no evidence that this was a kid's GameCube that was completely just manhandled and thrown all over the place. This is just bizarre. So up comes the power board. And no, it's just, what the hell? There's more of it stuck to this. How did this get in? Do you see that? There's some more of it. Ew. Gross, man. Seriously, if anybody knows what the hell these things are, they creep me out. I threw them away, but I honestly have no clue what they are. Well, that's that. Thanks for coming along on the journey again. Hopefully this will be edited down to a very tidy package because I spent way too long fixing this, but I'm extremely proud of myself that that is fixed. It was not worth the time. It would have been way easier to just replace the case with the other one I had sitting around. But now I know how this works, and that's why I do this. This is not about turning and burning and earning. It's about learning and learning and learning. And you can quote me on that. So yeah, thanks again for coming along on a journey in another mystery cube. And hopefully I'll keep on buying them and they'll be just as interesting time after time. Thanks. And maybe I'll see you next time.